sit. Last week, we didn't put out the names, but we would have done pretty well. I remember, we were just kind of spitting out some names. I was saying start Dalton Schultz, and each said start Leonard Fournette, which if
he got me 44. He would have gotten you 44 too.
If only we had made an episode last week and put out that gem. But I think we've done pretty well on the season. We were talking before the episode. Sugar and I are actually sharing our fantasy start. Sugar, I'll let you give them the name, give a little explanation, and then I'll back it up a little bit.
Wait, it's not Joe Mixon?
It's not Joe Mixon. That does not count, Sugar.
Before the episode. Oh, man. He's like, guys, should I say Joe Mixon? As if he's not the third.
It was the first name that popped in my head, guys. Our start is Jamal Williams. He's playing the Vikings. We saw what Elijah Mitchell did to that defense last week. I think the Vikings have the third worst run defense in the NFL right now, maybe third or second. I'm not sure, but it's pretty darn bad. So I think Jamal Williams, with Swift being out, he's going to get a lot of looks. I think he's good out of the backfield too as a passing option. So I think Jamal Williams would be a good start this week.
Yeah, and you had Dan Campbell coming out and like explicitly saying, we're going to lean on Jamal Williams quite a bit. And it's like on a list of things that you really never hear coaches say, it's stuff like that. You really never hear him come out and talk about, we really are going to try and get this guy the ball. It never really happens. And of course, you got to listen to it fantasy wise. I think Jamal Williams almost guaranteed over 20 touches in this game. And I feel like he'll be the same thing as DeAndre Swift, where I say it's matchup dependent, because the Lions will probably end up losing by a significant margin in this game. But when that happens, Jared Goff dumps off the ball like crazy. So I think you should see a lot of points from Jamal Williams, especially in PPR leagues.
Could you have just jinxed Minnesota? We'll find out. But
probably.
I mean, it's crazy for me to say this because, the Lions hadn't had a 100-yard rusher in 6 years, but now they're like a run first team.
Yeah.
So, which is weird to say, but yeah, I agree with you guys on Jamal Williams. I think he's a great running back. He's been a great backup in Green Bay, and now I think he's going to get a chance to shine in this offense, as pitiful as it can be. My start is a guy that I've never been the highest on, and I love how, we remember the post that Jack sent. I think it was, what is your worst take of 2021? And a lot of Niner fans should apologize to me because they told me that Mr. Brandon Ayuk would be better than Deebo Samuel. I want all those apologies right now. And I want every Niner fan to own up to it, including the man who is below me on your screen. But I will say Brandon Ayuk is my start. He is my fantasy start this week, obviously because Deebo is hurt, and again, Seattle secondary is just not that good. I think also he's had, I believe, a 90% plus snap share / count in the last like 6 weeks.
He's been getting involved, man.
Yeah, they're getting him the ball. He's getting touches. He's getting down the field. He's also a good threat in the red zone. He's finally showing what people thought he could be. Still not better than Deebo Samuel. I think finally people are going to accept that. But I think he's my fantasy start this week. Again, you're going to have to throw the ball downfield against the Seattle team, and he's going to be the guy to get it done.
85 yards in back-to-back weeks, and if he throws a touchdown on that, you're pretty set at the wide receiver position. My fantasy sit is a wide receiver. It's Odell Beckham Jr., someone I was really high on coming into the year, someone I have I think in 2 or 3 of my 4 fantasy leagues right now.
I don't
draft him in a couple, picked him up in a couple. But what's crazy to me is ESPN's projecting him at 12.7 PPR points. That's higher than guys like Corey Davis. It's higher than what they had Antonio Brown before he got ruled out. It's higher than even some running backs like Devonta Freeman. There was one where I don't remember exactly who it was they had him over, but I just think 12.7 points it's a pretty tough projection for OBJ to go out. And yeah, he had a pretty good week last week, but I think a lot of that was dependent on that one big pass, the long touchdown from Matthew Stafford. So I don't know completely yet whether we can trust Odell Beckham Jr. I don't think he's carved out a role as the number 2 in this offense yet. I still think Van Jefferson's above him. So I feel like Van Jefferson, if you had to start one or the other, I think I'm still leaning Jefferson for at least one more week. Got to see what we have in Odell. I just don't see him living up to that, 12.7 point projection. I feel like you got to have better guys on your team that you can start than OBJ.
I agree with that. OBJ, it's gonna take a little time. Obviously, still getting acclimated to a new offense, so stay away from him. My sit this week, even with Tre'Davious White missing, I'm going to say Mac Jones, and reason being, this is in Buffalo. In prime time, this is the biggest game of Mac Jones's career to this point. Obviously, he's a rookie, but I could low key see him being rattled in a situation like this. Even though it's Bill Belichick, I could see Mac Jones getting rattled. Kendrick Bourne had a great game last week, by the way. I got to give my props up to him, former Niner receiver. He had a great game. But I just don't see Mac Jones. It's something about this game just screams a Mac Jones letdown to me. I don't know what it is, but I think my sit here is Mac Jones, and I could easily see him being rattled here.
Let me keep it a buck with you. I don't think that many people are going to start Mac Jones.
Well, maybe a super flex league.
No,
but
you-
yeah,
maybe
I mean,
you could.
in a
You
super
could.
flex. You're right.
You definitely could.
I was thinking between 3 guys, and I don't like, you guys can maybe help me out on which one I'm leaning more on. I think right now I'm probably leaning Mark Ingram, even though because I know Kamara has been ruled out. But again, they don't have their 2 tackles, so the Saints, and then also Taysom Hill's going to get those red zone runs.
Yeah,
So
I mean, it's not really going to matter considering this episode will come out after the game. But
yeah, which darn man, I can't even have my.
I would
so that
I would
was
put Mark
one.
Ingram as a start. To be honest, I think Mark Ingram's going to have a pretty good day.
I'd rather
Especially
go
since
sit.
doesn't have his 2 tackles. I think Taysom's going to get those reps. We'll see. That was one. Another one was David Montgomery, a guy who didn't have the best week against Detroit. And then again, you're going up against a pretty stout Arizona defense. But again, I think, these are guys that he's the type of guy that where one big run can salvage the day.
Yeah,
And
and
I just
Arizona's
don't,
much better against the pass.
Yeah. So, I think that's another guy. And then the third one was Foster Moreau, the tight end for the Raiders. Cause I know Darren Waller's been out and everyone's thinking, okay, the last time he had 100% snap share, he went crazy with 60 yards and a touchdown. I don't know if you go with him in this situation. I suggest you find another tight end. Those were the 3 that I was thinking of, but I don't know I'm still kind of on the fence on which one I would lean more on.
I'm actually starting Foster Moreau in a flex spot over OBJ.
Oh, wow.
Is that bad or good?
I mean, you're banking on floor then, because
Yeah, I mean, it's a league I'm kind of banking on floor, and I wanted to put him in tight end, but I can't take Dawson Knox out of the lineup right now.
Interesting.
I don't know. Yeah,
I don't
that
know.
was
I think if you,
that's when I'm going back and forth.
Flexes are always. I think you always kind of lean upside on flexes.
Mhm.
So I mean, I don't. That's a tough one. You know my thoughts on Odell, so
Yeah.
I'm not gonna really get too much into that. But yeah, those are like kind of the 3 sits I was thinking about. I was gonna mention Brandon Cooks, but I don't want to do the injured players again because knowing my luck, he's gonna like get some type of injury in the next 2 days and miss like 3 weeks. So don't want to do that.
Yeah, because you guys missed. Anish picked Amari Cooper last week. He was making sure to keep someone completely off the injury report.
And then he gets COVID the next day, dude. Like,
Yeah,
what?
that's wild.
So dumb. Like,
So yeah, if either Foster Moreau, David Montgomery, or Mark Ingram are listening to this episode right now, which Mark Ingram won't be, considering he'll be playing tonight as we record this, wear your mask, stay away from people.
don't
Stay healthy,
get
bro.
for falling cars. Try not to slip or anything like that, because you never know. The goop curse,
Yeah.
it's real, and it can come get
so
you.
real. It is
Gup
so
curse.
real.
Gup curse, yeah.